for deep submergence.
Okay, boys, down we go.
All right, here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Today, going to do a quick overview, pros and cons of game Dave the Diver. Very fun game. Not too complicated, but not too easy either. Everything about this game. Let's get into it. So, a quick overview of the game. Dave the Diver, it's a 2D scroller set in a 3D world that is massive. The game developers took the worst aspect of every 2D scroller, the water level, and made an entire game out of it. Sounds horrible. The game is great. Did an excellent job mixing all the aspects that you would need in a game like this. They took aspects of Stardew Valley, Traveler's Rest, Subnautica, slammed it all together to a great game. So now let's start out with the pros about this game before we get into the cons. First, you're gonna have the graphics. This game did an outstanding job of mixing the 2D gameplay with a 3D environment. The graphics are phenomenal. You have the 3D depth in the game with the back scenes, with the graphics in the background, the 2D characters moving almost in a 3D environment. Excellently done. Excellently done. Couldn't have asked for anything better when it came to the way they put these graphics together. All right, the second pro we're going to get into here is the help and the tutorials that the developers put in the game. Perfect. They give you all the explanations you need. Not very much is left out when it comes to the tutorials, when it comes to the explanations to get you through the game, and they continue to do it throughout the game. It's very hard to get lost in this game. It's very hard not to know what to do or how to do it because of the tutorials. Some of them a little long, most of them real quick, boom, boom, boom. You know what to do, you know how to do it, you just got to do it. They did an outstanding job putting together the game mechanics along with the tutorials and explanations to get you what you need to get to. Next, we have the storyline. The storyline for this game flows almost perfectly. There's very little fluff to a lot of the storyline. It's engaging, it keeps you interested in the game, and even when the storyline breaks and branches off into different storylines, it still comes right back to the main storyline. There's no way to really get lost knowing what to do next. The storyline flows extremely well, and honestly, for me, it gave an actual instance where you start to care about what's happening to the characters, what's happening in the storyline, to make sure you do what you got to do to keep the characters what they need, where they're going, how to help them. Storyline was an excellent job. Whoever wrote it, not sure which one of the people wrote it, excellent job. And now we get into one of the best things that I loved about this game, the cutscenes. The cutscenes are phenomenal. Whether it's a cutscene for the storyline progression, whether it's a cutscene for the upgrades, cutscenes for your weapon, cutscenes for everything, phenomenal. They're funny, engaging, fun to watch. Anime style made it great. Being a fan of anime, I loved seeing that in the game. When the game is not technically or specifically an anime style game, to throw those cutscene aspects in there. Every time one started, I got excited. It is phenomenal to see these cutscenes. One of the reasons to get this game is just for the cutscenes. Next is one of the things I really liked about the game was typically with these kind of games, you get stuck in almost a monotony when it comes to doing the same thing over and over. You got to pass through all these levels to get deeper, to get further in, but you keep seeing the repetitive in a lot of these games that this game got rid of. Every time you dive, whether it's in the morning, afternoon, or at night, the general map will change. The monotony kind of takes a beat down from that because you will not be able to say, I know where this is, I know where that is, because the map changes every time you dive. It creates a much bigger exploration when you have to get to or find certain things. While you do have the landmarks will always be pretty much in the same spot, everything around them will change, which adds more to the game, not knowing where something is going to be every single time you dive. Every time you hit the water, it's going to change. Great way to break up the monotony of a game like this. Next, we have the user interface. Every gamer knows the user interface can make or break a game from the start. If the user interface isn't good, the game just loses that much more when you're trying to play. This game's user interface, perfectly done. Simple buttons, simple controls, simple inventory. Everything has a place. Very, very little fluff when it comes to the user interface. You know where everything is, everything's fast, everything's easy, boom, boom, boom. You got what you need. There's no long digging, there's no going through 15 menus to find one item, there's no long combinations of macro keys that you have to try to remember. Everything's quick, everything's easy. User interface, perfectly done, from my opinion. And now we get into what most people look for when it comes to a game to see if they're going to get it or not. The cons. One of the biggest cons in this game is the further you get into it, it starts to feel like you have a lot to do every day, and it can get overwhelming. But like I said in the pros, when it came to time control, time doesn't move forward unless you're diving. While it does get a little overwhelming and you just want to dive, but you know you need to take care of your farm for ingredients, you know you need to take care of your fish farm for ingredients, it can get a little overwhelming. It is a very weak con, but it is a con of the game for most people, because it's not just a straight diving storyline to get things done. All right, for the next con, I'm gonna kind of contradict myself here. While I did say in the pros the game is very good at keeping you going, keeping the monotony down, helping stop a little bit of the repetition and the monotony, it will still get a very, very small bit repetitive. You will have to dive a lot, you will be going to the same places a lot, and while the environment will change, you're still headed for those same spots. You're still headed to do kind of the same thing a few times in a row while the environment does change. So repetition and repetitiveness is there. Very, very little. That's one of the cons. I know it's a nitpick, but a game like this, you gotta find what you can find when it comes to the cons. And finally, the final con of this game that kind of irked me, because I want to be able to give a back and forth with games when I review them. The final con for this game is there are no more cons. It's very hard to criticize a game with so many pros and so little cons when the game has so little as a negative. So with that being said, game developers, when you don't have any negatives, you're hurting reviewers. So I'm gonna have to give that there are no cons as a con. Just the way it is. Sorry. So there you have it. That's my review of Dave the Diver. Simple conclusion: if you like this genre of game, Stardew Valley, sim, restaurant, Subnautica type 2D, 3D scrollers, buy the game. It's just that simple. You can play it, you can walk away from it, you can come back, you won't miss a beat. Everything's laid out for you. It can be played multiple times. You can play through multiple times, 100% completions, just storyline, just run your restaurant. It is what it is. The game is great. It is a purchase you should make, from my opinion. And that's it. That will do it for this one. I appreciate you guys hanging out. If this helped you, let me know in the comments. If you disagree with something I said, if you have another con or another pro that I missed, let me know. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.